Gunbuster is one of those mecha anime that you must have seen if you're into them. Same with Buster. It even teaches you things that you won't understand unless you have studied math for like 10 years, probably. I don't like math. It's like the first one you should watch because it got everything you would expect. Drama, aliens, action, cute girls, manly men, and obviously one of the coolest mechas, the Gunbuster. Both of them feel as close as you can to a time capsule in a way to their own anime era. The difference between them is quite big despite being fairly close. In Buster, this time they are not just aiming for the top, but actually go over the top in how cute they made Lulk. Probably the cutest girl in any mecha anime, or anime in general. Especially when she gets her tooth gap. I wish more anime girls would have them. Without Gunbuster, there would most likely be no Evangelion. No Evangelion means no Xenogears. No Xenogears means no Xenosaga or Blade. Xenoblade 2 would be a tiny bit worse without Hana hitting the iconic Gainax pose. Especially since she's also inspired by Gurren Lagann with her drill. Even though it could also have been inspired by Getter Robo's drill arm. Who knows? Nobody could ever make me hate Chapter 4 for all of its mecha references. I love how you could see Gunbuster like the earlier works of Takahashi versus Buster being Xenoblade 2. All of them are anime, but one goes that extra mile. But the most important question is, how does the game compare? Is it worth playing? How much fan service does it have for fans? A lot. They even recreated the whole opening and ending. Even the very important parts of it. They were known for their jiggle physics after all back in the day. Rest in pieces to Gainax. You deserve to go out with a bang, and they didn't even die with a whimper. It makes me really sad. You know what is one of the best case scenarios for a licensed game that never got translated? When it follows the story beats of the anime or manga, so you understand everything even when you don't. Since you know what they are saying for the most part, unless you last watched it like 20 years ago. Here it does a bit of both. The overall story is the same as the anime, but it adds a few more filler episodes like everyone's favorite communist, Jung, protesting the food at the cafeteria. Who else but her? Makes you almost wish this also happened in the anime to see Noriko with these puppy eyes because she really wants to eat donuts before choking on them. Always make sure to eat and chew properly, or else you might die like this. And that would be embarrassing. One time I almost choked to death because of an ice cube. I stopped eating them as a snack after that day. Every once in a while you even get to see cutscenes straight out of the anime, but the way they picked them was a bit weird at how random they appeared. Obviously they mostly picked them for parts where it was maybe a bit too much work to create and animate new 3D models for characters that barely show up otherwise. I have to appreciate the person who decided to put this scene in with the random commander lady that only shows up this single time in the anime too. I wish she would have gotten at least like 20 more seconds of screen time. For another example, there's the whole scene where the Luxian shows up, the ship that her dad commanded, and they took this scene straight from the anime on how they arrive at it. And that's not the bad part about it, because I think they would have not been able to translate the desperation on her face in her 3D model when she notices it was her dad's ship. In the anime, I was quite confused at first, because her dad died years ago. Obviously, you never give up the hope that they could have survived, but after a few years it's kinda, unlikely. But it's also the episode where they explain the whole space-time light-speed aspect, where the ship may have been attacked years ago on Earth, but for the actual ship it was just 2 days ago. So she thinks that her dad could still be alive here, but sadly that's not the case. It's like how the stars in our sky could already be dead by the time we see them. Something I will never be able to wrap my head around. Like, I understand it, but even then it just makes me think, holy shit. It's a reoccurring theme in Gunbuster, how it denies Noriko a normal life in exchange for saving the world. The people around her who didn't make it to the top and had to settle down into a normal life, having kids, becoming teachers themselves, while she herself is still kinda herself in a way. It's almost like my own, everyone else making something out of theirs, and then there's me, without the whole saving the world part, or maybe that's still gonna happen. Because of Noriko's little breakdown, they also get back to their base 12 seconds too late, and normally you would think, okay, this person was 12 seconds too late, that's not bad, but here it's like 6 months in their normal time. Here I kinda would have wished they also would have used the scene from the anime. Why only do it for the beginning, but not also the end? Jung and her birthday are on the same day, but Jung's birthday basically was months ago. But they did this little promise thingy where they said they will celebrate it together, which they now can do. Very cute and wholesome.
Happy birthday, dear Noriko Jung. Happy birthday to you.
But here's that little problem then. Why not include another little scene from the anime before they land back at base? It just straight skips back to them celebrating it. In my mind, it's probably because why even bother with the game if you want to have all the cutscenes from the anime, which I don't. Seeing them celebrate here in 3D is cute, but you didn't show any of the coming back to the base scenes in 3D. Why not fill the little gaps with little short scenes when you got the source material? Maybe someone told them, hey, you can only use like 5 minutes of cutscenes, so better pick them wisely, or else nobody will buy the DVD set if they can just buy the game instead. And sadly, some of the scenes are way less iconic here. You can feel they didn't got the biggest budget, but some changes are just for the worse. Why is the first Inazuma kick during the daytime here? It pales in comparison to the original. It's still cool, but would it have been too much work to change the lightning? Also, I cut out single frames of it here because the screen flashed a bunch of times and I don't want to be sued because I gave someone a seizure. That's why it maybe looks a bit choppy. But even here it pales in comparison to the flashes the actual anime had. Back then when people really didn't care at all. Porygon really must be a hero for people with epilepsy and how it made people more aware of it. You play games for gameplay though, right? And that's a bit well monotone here. It's fun to see the places from the anime in 3D, but you will get sick of them fast. Because all you do is the same thing. You can run around and basically inspect everything. The chairs, the balls, mine also need an inspection I think. Anything you could think of you can interact with, so Noriko gives you a bit of a mind about it. The same goes for the big characters and some of the no-name characters, who are all pretty cute at least. And I loved how there's many posters that serve as little Easter eggs. I wonder who these two girls could be, Or who this lady with the guitar is, I don't know. Imagine how fanservice-y this must feel like if you can actually speak Japanese. It would add an extra layer to it. You should do it anyway since you get points for talking to things, I'm not going insane, and those points can be used to buy new skills. And talking to people also gets you those skills unlocked. You can also get them by training with the various quicktime events or in battles. You can jump with the rope, or you can do push-ups, and at first you may fail because you really need to get into the rhythm of it to be good at it, since it's always the same, instead of being a random one. You can even do both of those in your mech. And at any point in the game where you can walk around, you can press triangle to just jump right into it. My favorite minigame is whipping up balls into a made up goal. I can't wait to do that in real life when we also finally develop some big robots we can pilot. Sadly, these minigames do not change over the course of the game. You do the same push-ups at school and the same ones at the ship. They don't change the rhythm, nothing about this changes. No new minigames, nothing, you just train the whole time with these. And that's all you do in between the fighting. You run around the place a bit, they do change obviously, but they're never truly big and sometimes they also reuse certain parts. Like how the nursery room in the school is the same one as the one on a mother trucking spaceship. Then you talk to someone, or you talk to things, I'm okay still, and do a bit of training. And then you do a battle. The fighting is kinda underbaked since often the second you get into your group it's already over, at least at the start. It's like making a fighting game that is a best of one round. You shouldn't throw 1000 enemies right at me from the start, but fighting like 5 enemies that barely put up a fight and then saying yep, wait for the next mission to maybe fight 6 or 7 this time, it's not fun. Especially since the game auto-locks onto an enemy for you. Then you just spam the attack button to fill up your special numbers so you can do a skill. Like riding on the swing, doing an Inazuma kick or baseball batting these dumb aliens. I love these space aliens in Gun and Gunbuster because they just feel like this force of nature. You don't really get an explanation for them, they are just coming for humanity to get rid of us. While they look like jellyfish or insects, they don't talk back, don't try to communicate, they just want us dead, how mean of them. So I don't feel bad for killing them at all. And I'm normally the kind of person who feels a tiny bit bad when I accidentally step onto a little bug. One of the worst things I know I must live quite a sheltered life that ever happened to me was walking into the bathroom at night without socks on, and I feel this squishy feeling as I put my little foot down just to notice I stepped on a somewhat big spider and squished it with my bare foot. That did not feel nice for the spider or me, rip in pieces. Luckily when you get the Gunbuster it actually feels a bit more wow, cool. Look at how many I can take out with my beam. I love this illusion the game gives me when I randomly shoot my laser across the screen and it tells me I'm hitting something even though I'm pretty sure there was nothing to hit. Till you get the homing laser attack and the game goes all the way up to almost 1 million, where I can be quite sure the game lies to me. There are not 1 million things on the screen, especially when you realize this attack does not even attack the things in front of you. I don't even know what it hit, maybe 2 or 3 things in the back, but I'm standing right here, why are you not hitting the things that are flying at me? But even then the combat feels so underwhelming, especially when the game throws out way more enemies. I know I wanted more, but it leaves no room for error or trying out cool melee attacks. At this point in the game, in all of the missions you have to make sure that not too many aliens get through to the ship or else you lose. So every mission now is an escort mission, and it makes you use what you think is the strongest, the normal beam you unlocked when you also unlock the Gunbuster. It may not look as fancy, but you at least know you're hitting stuff with it. I know it's the same as in the anime kinda like this, but the enemies don't even try to engage with you anymore at this point. And that's kinda lame in a video game. Whenever I try to do cool melee moves, there will be a whole bunch of enemies that will fly past me, so I get punished for wanting to do cool shit. And isn't that the point of a mecha game in a way? Remove the escort feeling of the missions and make me able to just go boom boom kabush. And look at the boss that looks like one of my favorite things in the world. All I do is just bashing it with my attacks. It can't even attack me, and all it does is shooting lasers at the spaceship I have to protect, but it doesn't even deal damage to it. It feels like this fight is just completely broken in a way. This is the last fight before the final fight that is just an endless wave of enemies where you have to spam your beam. This is not a game I would recommend to people who are not fans and are looking for a mecha game that makes you go, wow, I love fighting in mechas. And even for fans it's a bit, I don't know, maybe if someone decides to translate it one day for all the extra dialogue you get from the characters. But it's always nice to hear more Norio Wakamoto in a more serious role. That man has a voice that a voicelet like me can only dream of.
敵が数億ですよ。完成してるガンバスターがただの一機で他にどういう作戦があると言うんですか。ありはしませんよ。
I remember making the mistake of playing Xenoblade 1 with the English dub a whole bunch because I didn't know it was on the disc because the last story didn't include the Japanese voices, so I never checked it in Xenoblade. Till I read you can actually switch the voices, and holy shit, that was the best day of my life when I got to Norio Wakamoto as Metal Face or Melia's dad being Joji Nakata. Everyone's favorite little red frog. Oh well, that one priest from Fate that most people probably know him for. And then he was also the bad guy in the official Counter-Strike visual novel. My biggest complaint about the game has something to do with the ending scene. Maybe it's a bit nitpicky because I knew they can't show that scene in the game unless they want to get hit with an age rating that makes it sell worse, but it looks so silly like this. If you never watched the show, you may not know what is wrong with this, but normally she rips her shirt open. Am I even allowed to complain about this since I'm too much of a coward to show the anime comparison? I'm fearing the age restriction too, just like they did. I'm such a hypocrite. Also, if you have seen Gunbuster, you are probably wondering why is there Jung here instead of Kazumi. MILF Kazumi is here too, but she switched roles with Jung because at one point the game asked me, who do you want to side with? Someone you admire, which is Kazumi, a worthy rival that is Jung, and someone you respect, Kochi. Without even knowing what this choice meant, I picked Jung because I'm simple like that. I kinda regret not picking Kochi now to see how the story changes with him in this position. But maybe one day I feel like I wanna do another playthrough, or maybe you will choose him. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video and will have a good day, a good night, or whatever fits your time zone. Now go watch Gunbuster and also Diebuster if you haven't already. Even if you're not the biggest mecha fan, just marvel at the animation put onto display, and the soundtracks that the game here also uses all the time, because why create something else if you already got the perfect music for it? You know what else is perfect? You. Bye bye.